This section again, this is the 3D um, part that you have for this cube, so I'll just set it off to the side here. And just taking a look at this section that has this angled section right here. So an easy way to do this is to take the rectangle tool and as you start this out, I'm just going to draw a square because it's 3 by 3 by 3, so just hold the shift key down and that gives me this square. Okay. The next part is to add to this section, and I'm going to try to make it somewhat even. So I'm going to take a selection, I'll just change the color a little bit, and just draw this section up at the top. I'm going to take the direct selection tool and just highlight this corner path. And I just hit it in about 10 spaces. There's 20, just using the arrow key, so that's 30 across. So I'm just going to do the same on the other side. So I just counted out. So that's 30 on either side. And then I'm going to select both of them by just dragging arrow and just dropping them down a bit to try to get that position. Okay? So just trying to do it evenly, geometrically, and again, if you did it with the pen tool, just kind of showing you this. This is a 45-degree angle. Trying to come down. The smart guides are going to line up a little bit with me here. So trying to show you different ways. Now these are not even, but I could make them even. So just two ways to show you. So I'm just going to shift key and select both of these pieces, and in the Pathfinder just join them together, or I could even take the selection at the top. But the direct selection tool grabs just the individual points depending on how I grab them, and if this needs to be moved over, it depends. So it leaves a little bit up to your discretion there. Okay, so that's the distance that it goes across, and again you can change the color for it just so you can see it. And then up at the top, just remember this is one way of just creating the shapes that give you a little more flexibility, and this is just trying to introduce to you the extrusion of the 3D capabilities of Illustrator. Again, here's the window, here's the preview of what it looks like. Remember, this is the isometric location, left and right, so you can see and go either direction, and it gives you that piece. And this is in points, again, just as they measure the font, so you can see that. And you can also click inside and just use the arrow key to build that up. And pretty much that's the shape that you have. Now, more options allow you to see the lighting and the shading and start to manipulate the light source. So you can give a little bit of practice onto that. And it gives you that section. And click OK. And remember, once that you are in this three-dimensional setting, you have to go through the appearance panel. And here's the appearance panel. And here it is check marked right here so you can see it. And this allows you to then create that piece. If you need to modify it, here's the extrusion, here's the fill. And when you click on the arrow, it extrudes down here, gets to see different coloring for it. So you can carry through there, and it has all the color libraries, everything that you need to work with to build that up. But something very simple, so I'm just going to take the part that is a symbol, has to be created into a map. So I'm just going to make a square with the shift key, give that a color, and from this part, I'll give it a purple color. So right on here, this has to become what they call a symbol. So when you take a look at your windows that you have, just make sure window under this part is open, and it'll show this circle that's already there. Here's the piece right at the top. I'm just going to go new symbol. This is going to come across. I'm just going to type in what this is, click OK, and now I can apply this, but you have to have this selected. Click on the extrusion, go to Preview, and this shows you everything that's happening. When you go into the map art, that's the part that gives you the symbol location. There's 8 sides to this. The cube had 6. This has an angle beveled at 45 degrees. So now when you toggle through this, the red outline shows where it's located, and that's the facade, that's the front that you want to use. Click on the bottom where it has the square, and it'll default right into the middle. Shading with the artwork shows that piece, and click OK, and now you have this part. Now keep in mind, you can rotate this on the XYZ axis to make this. I can also just go right back to the default of placing that in there and click OK. So it's just a simple connection using the shape to extrude it, a symbol to place that graphic right on there, so you've gone from the drawing into the 3D model extrusion.